All right, and we are live. We're going to go on and get started. Want to thank each and every one of you for being with us here Thursday at our community get together. And didn't know what we're going to talk about tonight. Annette and I were going back and forth, fighting, and she was like, So I lost the fight, so I'm running point tonight. So, but again, I want to thank you guys for being here. But tonight we want to talk about unity consciousness. And I just felt it was fitting with everything that's going on right now with what I'm going to call episode number 2. I just felt it was fitting that, we talk about this because it's out here. A lot of times I see when situations happen, people in our space sometimes shy away from it and get kind of passive. And I didn't feel we should do that. I feel that we should probably just talk through some things, but I'm going to come from a whole different perspective tonight on this situation. But the concept is going to revolve around unity consciousness. Okay, if you're taking notes. So one of the first things I want to share with you guys is, through this whole thing, I've been asking, why is this happening? How is this happening? How does this all fit in? And I'm always amazed at how the answers come to me. Some of it comes to me through meditation. Some of it comes to me through people I talk with, some of the spiritual teachers that I follow. Some of it comes with just talking with my family or talking with Annette. But the answers always come together. And one of the most profound statements that came to me was that in order for us to get to unity, we have to pass through polarity. We have to pass through the differences. You just don't wake up one day, take a pill, and we're all united. It doesn't work that way. So in order for us to get to this thing called unity consciousness, we have to go through the polarities of life, the differences, and work those out. And one of the things that has come to my awareness is that you have the 1% of the elite on this planet challenging the 99%. And the elite is about keeping people in division, polarity, separation, arguing, bickering, keeping us distracted while they push the agenda. And what's happening now is through these events, we are seeing the 99% win, and we're continue to win. And I just want to walk through this because we just came out of episode number 1, which was COVID-19. And what did COVID-19 do? It put us in quarantine. The universe says, no, y'all go sit y'all butts down. And we were all isolated. But I want you guys to think about, what did we do in that isolation? Well, we had to go in, right? We had to reflect. A lot of time to think, right? A lot of time, hey, you're not going to work, you're not doing this. We were forced to be by ourselves in this thing called isolation. In isolation, it created questions. Questions like, well, why am I here? Why am I working my job? What's my purpose? And what started to happen was, as we were working through our tensions and our anxieties, something that surfaced was this thing called truth. So we all had this time where we're going through this space where we're locked away from everybody else, social distancing. You're not talking to anybody unless they stay in the same house with you. There is no real contact unless you're on the phone, this, that, and the other, but there was really no interaction face to face. And we were all quarantined, and those questions led to our inner truth. Now, look what the universe did. We are all isolated, and then within 1 week, in episode 2, we all in the streets. I mean, so when you really think about how we went from not interacting, now we're in the streets with each other, guys, you have to really see how the dots are connecting and what the universe is really doing. But because we went through the quarantine and we were able to go within, and I think a lot of people on this planet did that, a lot of people were able to identify, well, what are my core truths? What do I stand for? What do I believe in? We all had that time to process that information. And as soon as the second episode kicked off, everybody rushes together. And by and large, 99% of the people are saying, hey, we're united as one. And that's what we're seeing in the streets with the protesting. And I know that the media is focusing on the looting and the rioting, but by and large, people that look different are all coming together, and they're speaking what? We're speaking unity. They're speaking, hey, we want equal rights for everyone on the planet. And when I really sat down and I just let that soak through my brain, I'm just like, wow, you know, because I got to be honest with you, a week and a half ago, I didn't see any of that. I was in straight up flesh, calling the boys, we about to go hurt somebody, and so to see how this is played out to where we are now, it's showing that, hey, we're starting to make those advancements to bring in this consciousness together, which is going to get us to the fifth dimension, because there's no way that we can get there without going through what we call the ugliness of what we're seeing now. So I just thought that was very profound as we're doing it. And, when I look at, and again, I'm going to speak from a spiritual lens here. From a spiritual lens, when you look at the sacrifice George Floyd made, he brought the dam down. Literally, he collapsed it. And by that situation collapsing the dam, it's brought people together. And I think a lot of people were shocked at the uproar that took place, not just in the United States, all over the planet. I mean, the UK, Sweden, all these different countries that are all marching off for what? Human rights, marching for equality. And this is part of the shift that needs to take place. And so for the people that are out there protesting, because, I'm watching some of these videos, they all look different. Skin color, they're all represented out there. And I think a lot of people were like, wow, this is really happening. So again, a couple of weeks ago when we started the Zoom, we had mentioned the COVID-19 was just episode 1. We're in episode 2, and there are other episodes to come, but there's a divine plan that's working in the background to help usher in and help usher us into the fifth dimensional consciousness. But we're going to have to experience these type of mechanisms to bring people together. So step 1 was, hey, you guys get in isolation, think about it. Step 2, what did you learn in isolation? We're all working in unity now. And have you all noticed how much people, you might need to expound on that, Lisa, but yeah, I've noticed people from everywhere, all walks of life are just coming together, working together. And that's just phenomenal. And this is the other thing that hit me. If we call ourselves multidimensional beings, how can we achieve that level of consciousness if we can't love one another? Do you see what I'm saying? If we call ourselves, hey, we're multidimensional and this, that, and the other, well, we have to be able to walk among people that don't look like us, may not speak like us. Their eyes may be slanted differently than us. Does this make sense? So all of this is a teaching to show that, hey, there's only one race, and it's the human race. And the other perspective I got is, if we're going to move to the fifth dimension, we have an entire universe out here with other entities that don't look anything like us. So how can they visit us and walk among us if we can't walk among ourselves? There's so many things happening at so many different levels through this entire thing. And a lot of times, yeah, we got to deal with our emotions and the physical, but a lot of times we got to take a step back and look at it. We got to put our spiritual glasses on, our higher dimensional glasses on, and really look at things and how the dots are connected. Because guys, it's going to happen. We're going to wake up one day in the very near future and they're going to be here. But we got to get ourselves together among each other. Does that make sense? So there's just a lot of things that are connecting so many dots through this entire process. And if we can just home in on that and understand it, this is all going in the right direction. It's all going in the right direction. So, I look at even pets and animals. I see more people with pets. Actually, we got one on here that's being used. I don't know whose pet is that? Lisa's got a pet. Everybody loves pets now. 30 years ago, not so much. Are you guys with me? My family is going through a situation now where we're trying to get a pet, and it's like they're all fighting against me. We want a dog. We want a dog. So, okay, you're going through this process to get this dog. You got to fill out an application. They want a bank statement, DNA. They want to walk through the house. They are literally breaking everything down to make sure this dog is going into a home that is going to love them. And that's what human rights are all about. Equality is about. And again, it just shows the shift that we're making as a human species, working out our differences, working out our polarity issues, and coming together as one. So I hope that helps you guys. I just want to give you guys some perspective, because I know there are people out here just looking at this and like, well, what the hell is going on? Well, you have to be able to separate the differences at different levels of what's really going on. Remember, there's always a higher agenda that's taken place. And while we're operating in this flesh, while we're operating in this third dimensional reality, understand that's just one version. There's multiple layers of what's going on. Look at what the death of Gandhi did for the country of India. Look at what the death of Martin Luther King did. I mean, there's so many examples of sacrifice that was made, and what came out of it was what? An opening of togetherness. And I firmly believe with everything in me, we're going through that now. And all of us here are living through history. 2020 is going to be talked about forever. Like, as long as people are on this planet, they're gonna go back to 2020, and we need to just feel blessed and honored that we're here. Like, we're living through it and experiencing it, and our energy and our actions and our emotions are all contributing to the history of what's moving forward. They're going to talk about how the species handled this in 2020. So feel honored for where you're at. So what I want to do now is I want to talk about the paradigm of what we're seeing, and then the change that people are trying to make, because there's a thin line between jumping into what we're seeing and having this thing on, well, I want to create change, and trying to create that change from an emotion of anger. It doesn't work. Does that make sense? Okay. And if you're not careful, you can find yourself so in it that you lose yourself. You lose sight of what this meaning is all about. So I always challenge people to understand that, hey, it's okay to go through the emotions. I went through a week of emotions last week because of that video. I watched that video about 15 times. Okay. And I was immersed in it. I even had a family meeting outside. hey, we about to go get some bombs, some guns. And I'm keeping it 100 with you guys. I mean, literally, I text everybody, family meeting outside, come on out. This is what we about to do. Now, it went only that far as words. Are you guys with me? But there's some people that went beyond words. Okay, there's some people that actually took the streets and started doing fighting, and that was their way of purging. Mine only went as far as words because I came back, went back within, accessed my higher power, and started to process things in a different way. And I needed to go through that third dimensional reality to be able to purge and then come back and be able to even speak with you guys the way I'm speaking now. I could not talk like this with you guys if I didn't go through what I went through last week. I honestly believe that. I literally had to feel, because some things were triggered in me. Does that make sense? So I had to literally go through it, purge it, to be able to come back and give you guys a perspective of, okay, well, let's look at this from a spiritual perspective, a higher self perspective, and give some context to what's really going on. But there are other people, they're purging in a different way. They're purging through bricks. They're purging through fighting, fist fighting, bats, clubs, this, that, and the other. You know, there's some violence. So the thing we have to understand is that all of this stuff is purging out one way or the other. And that's what this episode is designed to do, to purge out and to bring humanity closer together. So as we move forward, because episode 3 is going to look something totally different. And we don't know what it is, but brace yourself, it's coming. It's kind of like going back to the 12 plagues. I really feel we're like in that type of situation. COVID was 1. George Floyd was episode 2. I don't know what episode 3 is going to be, but it's going to wow us. We're going to be in here talking about it like, wow, can't believe that happened, you know? And I'm not going to give any speculations because I don't know, because I always mess it up. So I just know something is coming. So give you a couple things that you should consider. If you were emotionally triggered because of this event, realize you're in 3D. I was in 3D last week. Bottom line, I saw the video, time to hurt somebody. None to talk about. That's just where I was. The key is not to stay there. Does that make sense? The key is then not to make sense. Not to stay there. If you find yourself seeing what happened and then questioning, and then you got a bunch of conspiracy theories, then you're in 4D. Okay, you're in the bridge type of thing. And if you're seeing what happened, if you're seeing what's happening and you're not reacting, you're in 5D. And there's no good or bad. I can tell you right now, Ned's been in 5D through this whole thing. Ace, no, love and light. Ace, love and light. Why y'all laughing? But guess what? Again, there's no right and wrong, but I understood it because we had a conversation. I'm like, get mad. Why don't you want to hurt somebody? And she was like, Ace, that's what you're supposed to do. I'm going to hold this 5th dimensional energy and send a planet love and light. But see, we all were operating. You guys with me? We're all operating. Some of us were going from 3, 4, and 5 back to 3, jump to 4, 3, 5. You have to understand where you're at in the whole process. Okay. It's important to understand that. I'm in 5D with the situation now. Even though I'm seeing the violence and the looting and all that, I am able to hold this energy in the 5th dimension now because I purged all the triggers and the emotions. That makes sense. I purged that out, going through my crying spells, this, that, and the other. I was able to purge that out. So don't get mad if you find yourself. The thing is to be aware. I knew I was in 3D. Knew it. Didn't access any of my spirit guides. No, didn't talk to none of them. No, I want to talk to the boys. You guys with me? No. Archangel Michael, nah, you ain't speaking to me today. I wanted to be in this because I was angry. You guys with me? And then after a while, they ganged up on me, encircled me. We're going to give you a light bath, Ace, and, and that over there cheering, calm down. We're here for you. They wiped my eyes and all that. And I was able to get back in my vibration, but understand through this whole thing, understand where you're at as far as what dimension you're operating in. And again, be gentle with yourself. If you're angry, let it flow through you. Don't try to fight it. I didn't try to fight it. I went through all the emotions, family meeting, cleaning the gun, I went through all the emotions. Okay. And then I was able to take myself to a different space. And now I'm in a space where I can really spiritually talk about this, not only with you guys, but a lot of other people, and really help people process what's going on. Does that make sense? Because there's a lot of angry people out there. So recognize, am I interpreting this through 3D, 4D, or 5D? Because those are the triggers. So I want to close with this. How do we go about making change? Okay, we see what's happening. What can we individually do to make change that will assist the collective in moving forward? Well, the first thing you got to do is this. You got to know what you believe in and what you stand for. So the first question is, do you believe that every human being on this planet deserves equality? You got to ask yourself that. Do you believe, regardless of color of skin, what someone speaks, how they look, gender, age, do you believe that every human being deserves equality and deserves human rights? So not everybody believes that. And I would tell you, if you're not there, then you don't even do nothing but stay at home. Okay. But if you do believe in that everybody deserves equality, no matter what, just because they're a human being, then you go to step 2. So if I believe in that, then what tools and resources do I have that I can lend to humanity? For some people, it's their voice. It's their influence. I do a lot of talking. So this is one of my ways of helping. For other people, it's waking up every day and sending love and energy out to the planet. Does that make sense? For other people, it's protesting. We all have different tools in us. Okay. So you have to ask yourself, what are my tools and what are my resources? Okay. How can I lend my energy to the collective? How can I end it? Like Sunday, when we did our meditation, and if you weren't there for the meditation, you can always go back to our YouTube channel and go through it. We sent love and light to the entire country. And I think at one point we did the entire planet, but we did the entire country. And that covered the looters, that covered everybody. Because we did it from a non-judgmental and a non-biased perspective. Does that make sense? Because our entire goal was to shed the hate. Our entire goal was to shed the corruption. Our entire goal was to shed the polarities that were creating oppression. And that's what we're about. So look at what you can do individually, because we're all gods in this thing. We are all different aspects of the one big aspect. So everything that we do individually affects the collective. So even if you wake up every day and say, hey, God bless every human being on this planet, and do it from a space of genuineness, that is doing a lot. That's like a protest. You guys with me? Okay. It's just coming from a different frequency, and it's coming from a different vibration. Okay. And number 3, some of you have the power to move polarity into unity just through acts of kindness. These are the people that don't want to speak. They don't want to do nothing, but they'll help somebody across the street. They'll help a homeless person. You guys with me? They'll feed the cats. Hint, hint, clue, clue. Okay. These are the individuals that um, just do the things. You know, you might be going through the turnpike and you leave a $20 bill and say, hey, pay for as many people as come behind me with their toll fees. Somebody did that for me one time and I was messed up in the head for about an hour because I'm like, wow. You know, because what did it do? What I did was like, no, pay for the next person. And I drove off. Okay. But I wish I would have did the same thing. I think I just left my toll to pay for the next toll, but I wish I would have left a 20. You guys with me? But I was so moved by that. And that's what acts of kindness do. So we all have the ability to create some type of act of kindness. But this is the key when you're doing acts of kindness. You're not looking for anything back. And that's why a lot of times you do it with people that you'll never see again. Those are the best acts of kindness. When you just leave an impression, keep it moving, and you never, ever will get to know what it did to that person. Just like the person that did it for me at the toll booth will never know the exhilaration that I felt. You guys with me? But guess what? I in turn did it for someone else. And that's what acts of kindness do. So there's a lot of things that we can do during these times to help bring about this unity consciousness that we're looking to bring about, because we're all in this together. We are all in this together. So I hope that helped you guys. Let me see. Annette, I'm going to turn it over to you to do some announcements, but I really hope that helped you guys. I just wanted to put a quick piece on it, and I hope it just helps to make sense, you know, as we go through these times. And again, always be aware of 3D, 4D, 5D, where you're at on that scale. Don't judge yourself. If you're in flesh, let it go through you and you'll be able, because when you recognize it, that's when you can move it. But some people are in flesh, angry, hurting people, and don't know why they're doing it. They're the ones that create all the violence and go home and be like, why do that? Why hit Bobby? I don't know why I hit him. They have no clue. They're not conscious of what's going on. But when you know, I'm in 3 right now, where the boy is at, when you know you in it, then you can move out of it. So hope that helped you out. Annette, I'll turn it over to you.
I'm in love and light, y'all know me, so. But, you know, the good thing about the partnership with Ace is we balance it out. You know, when he's in gangster mode, I'm over there above the planet, just sending light, just send some light to everybody. So appreciate everybody. I put the link on the chat for you to go to YouTube and subscribe to the Forever Phoenix channel. Again, I think Ace said we needed about 100 people to be an official YouTube channel. So we are working towards that. If anybody needs Reiki distance healing, please let us know. Had an update from Caroline on her nephew. He is talking a little bit. He has had movement, but I did get an email from her this afternoon. They had to rush him back to surgery. He has some kind of bacteria in his spinal cord, if I think it is. So just continue. His name is we call him JR. So just continue to send him love and light. And each one of you, we as Forever Phoenix is always sending you love and light, always covering you and your families, especially our children. You know, our children right now are really not understanding what's going on as much as we as parents try to explain everything to them. This is a whole nother ball game for the kids. So we definitely need to make sure we're covering our kids, our grandkids, our picked up off the street kids, everybody else. We really need to cover them. The one thing I've been seeing is a lot of the companies, I don't know if you've been getting it, a lot of the companies, I got an email from Planet Fitness today that they donated money to the Boys and Girls Club. And a lot of the companies, because of what's going on the planet right now, a lot of companies are stepping up and actually donating to help with the cause of what's going on. I'm going to stay above the planet. I'm going to cover y'all. So y'all be good. Yeah, I'm going to keep Ace covered. Don't worry. I got him. But if y'all want to help out, help a sister out here. But we truly love you all. We appreciate you. And we will be here Sunday for meditation at 7 o'clock. You'll be getting the invite. And again, we send you Reiki love and light. We send you protection, and have a wonderful rest tonight. Leave all that other stuff outside and just get you some genuine rest. Go into that deep realm and get you some rest. Leave everything off. Tomorrow's a brand new day. Don't take any of this to bed with you.
Not at all.
So, love you all. Have a wonderful evening. And peace out.
Love you guys.
Love you
Talk to you
too.
guys
Love
soon.
you guys. Thank you, every. Thank
Bye.
you. Good
Thank you.
night.
Thanks. How do I leave? Oh.